Hi, I'm Sean. I'm a nonprofit executive with over 2 decades of experience on managing organizations from the brink of a financial going concern to strong, healthy, financially stable, mission forward organizations creating a bigger impact than ever before. Now, I serve as an evangelist for nonprofits to explore outsourced departmental execution for below the line business functions and fractional leadership roles to help the organization's executive directors surround themselves with people with expertise that complement the executive director's skill set as a leader. So today I want to talk about whether or not the role of a chief financial officer is one that's vital as an FTE for your nonprofit. The first thing we need to do is to establish the different nomenclature around the functions of accounting in the nonprofit and for-profit space. There's two types of accounting. There's financial accounting, which is the dreaded audit and the experts that come in to provide a review of the organization's policies and procedures, and then to provide a single one-time snapshot of the organization on the fiscal year end that serves as a review and single point in time reference for the organization's financial position and health and stability. That single snapshot is the Form 990. The Form 990 is an attempt by the government to standardize and regulate the way nonprofits report their financial positions so that everyone can be on a quote unquote level playing field in terms of the way they are evaluated and reviewed for their financial health and stability for external stakeholders and shareholders of the organization to be able to compare and contrast organizations' health and positioning. We always will need a financial auditor to come in on an annual basis and review the organization's policies and procedures, and that is a standard viewpoint of the generally accepted accounting principles that go into managing any organization and reporting on an equal and level playing field for all aspects of the organization. The other side of the accounting function is called managerial accounting. A managerial accounting is the way we choose as leaders, executive directors, to guide and direct our internal staff and leadership team to execute the organization's policies and procedures and put ourselves in position to end the year in a strong, financially healthy position. Every single component of the managerial accounting is decided and ultimately rolls the responsibility of the executive director. So we hire a leadership team, including a chief financial officer, to put the policies and procedures in place that we think are necessary for the organization to move forward and manage the organization's internal resources, expense management, and revenue projections for the organization. We need to make sure that we are recognizing restricted and unrestricted revenue properly. We're recognizing multi-year and time-restricted contributions in the proper and a most effective way. And we need to make sure that the policies and procedures that we put in place are universally applied, that meet the generally accepted accounting principles for the organization, and make sure the organization is protected so that we know that we are comparing apples to apples in year-over-year comparisons for the organization's health. Now we get to the fun part of managing an organization, the chief financial officer's roles and responsibilities in this. We hire a chief financial officer because we know we need to complement our skill set with to surround ourselves with an executive leadership team that complements our skill set. We were not put in position to lead a nonprofit because of our financial acumen. We were put in position to lead a nonprofit because we have strong relationships that lead to long-term stable fundraising for the organization and resource development, and an ability to execute a mission at the highest possible level with no compromises on how we bring our value proposition and our differentiating factor to the table to manage the organization's mission component. Knowing that that is our strength and those are our strong suits, it's our job to surround ourselves with leaders that can execute what we don't know. So that becomes the real challenge here, right? You have a leadership team that looks to you for the rules and responsibilities for how to manage the organization's resources, but we aren't equipped to do that. So we put trust in our executive leadership team, but we don't know whether or not they're doing it properly. We do know, however, that frequently we're asking for reports in advance of a board meeting, or we're asking for reports to help us with strong data-driven decisions, and there's a difference in how quickly we expect those reports to be able to be run to provide a snapshot for the organization. So then we have to dig deep into the process of whether or not our chief financial officer is equipped with the ability and skill set to provide the information that we need. They might have the education and personal and professional experience to do so, but might not be providing those financial functions with the internal resources, software, and expertise to be able to do that. Right? The more we attract high-level CFOs to help us run our organization, which is really the unicorn that we're looking to do and execute, which is bring in strong financial leadership to manage our organization. The more we bring in strong, experienced, and professional leaders to come in, the less they're going to be inclined to execute the day-to-day journal entries that are required to manage the organization. So for every new person we bring in at an executive level in the financial function, we have to we have to complement them with the skills that are required to manage the organization. And we've started a downward spiral, spending a lot of internal resources on different departmental functions. So in order to execute finance, we roll all components of finance together, even if they're not necessarily accounting functions. So we have a CFO that's responsible for managing the accounts payable, the accounts receivable, making sure that we have a controller that's managing the organization's position and make sure that we are managing the organization properly. We have bookkeepers and accounting generalists under those employees so that we can function as a whole. Now we're starting to talk about a really big overhead investment for a non-mission driven aspect of the organization, which is why I'm really bringing this channel to the forefront to talk about whether or not it makes more sense for us to leverage external financial resources and third-party financial services firms to take over all of that responsibility of the managing of financial accounting functions for our organization and the financial resources for our organization so that we can make sure that we are doing everything by the book. We're leveraging all aspects of what's available to us to make sure that the organization is pulling data quickly, that we're making the proper investments in the resources and software required to run the organization, able to do all of this execution at an elevated level, allowing us to scale. So we aren't in a position where we're struggling to meet reporting requirements or journal entry requirements because our volume is increasing at such a rate because of our prowess at the above the line parts of the organization that we've talked about in the past, fundraising and mission-oriented approach. So it's our job to look at whether or not we're doing what's right by the organization by having all of this staffing structure as an internal below the line aspects execution, when we should be spending more of our time focused on driving the organization forward. So I'll ask a fundamental question. If a CFO is telling you they need a bookkeeper that's going to be a $100,000 a year role, and your head of programs that you're actively involved with is telling you they need another case manager at a $100,000 a year role, and you have a donor willing to give you a one-time $100,000 commitment, where is the best way to spend that resource? Right? If your job is to expand your mission capabilities, then you know the answer already. So why don't we find third-party outsourced firms and fractional leadership to give us the same thing that we're getting from our internal FTEs, but we know we're managing those resources more effectively with experts that are benchmarking our progress against other clients they work with. We're putting the processes in place to quickly run reports, to quickly get the data-driven resources we need, and to make sure that our books are clean, organized, and effective and not being run through Excel spreadsheets or in your own head knowledge of the organization. It's our job to start thinking differently about ways we can leverage the resources in today's gig economy to bring a value proposition to our nonprofit that lets us evolve to the next level. So going back to the original question is, do you need a CFO? I mean, it depends. If what's working for you is working and you're ready to scale and you're spending your time focused on the most important aspects of the organization and you're trusting that every aspect of your below the line execution from departmental leadership is going well, and you know that you're not running through Excel spreadsheets and you know you're not running through the knowledge in someone's head, then yeah, I mean, having a CFO on staff makes sense. If you're not necessarily sure about those, then you need to bring someone in to audit your organization's managerial accounting process and start to make strong decisions on how you can help the organization moving forward. We don't necessarily need all of this in-house. We need to start thinking of ways we can help our organization be creative, disrupt the status quo, and recognize that our job is to protect the organization even in a time when we don't know as executive directors all the details of managing a finance department. What I will tell you is if you bring an expert in that can be an equal to you as an executive director and provide you guidance and counsel as a fractional CFO in an outsourced financial services firm, you're going to learn. And the more you learn about these processes and the more you learn from partners you bring in to help you, whether they're fractional or outsourced, you grow as a leader. And as an executive director of a nonprofit, it's hard to continue to increase your own skills so that you're adding to your own repertoire of talent in leading an organization. So when you're ready to bring all of this back in-house, you're educated, you're prepared, and you know what to do. And because your books have been placed in order by a third party, you know things are run properly and managed well. So when you hand it over, when you scale to a level that's required for you to bring a CFO in-house, or you feel comfortable bringing one in-house, you know you're handing them the keys to a fully operational vehicle. You're not putting yourself in a position where you're asking them to reinvent the wheel. So as you're looking to learn, expand your organization's capabilities, and improve your organization's reporting and data-driven decision-making, I'm going to challenge you to think about whether or not you need that internal CFO to execute. Because organizations of varying sizes have leveraged outsourced financial services firms as departmental leads and departmental execution in the finance space for a lot of other nonprofits. And now it's the time for you to think of new ways to disrupt your own business practices and put yourself in position to succeed. And you're still doing what you know is right, surrounding yourself as an executive director with a leadership and external guidance that helps you complement the skills that you bring to the table as an executive director of the organization. So like, subscribe, comment down below. Let's start a dialogue about whether or not this could be useful for you. In the meantime, thank you so much and have a great day.